The Battlefield 1 beta is over, and what do I think of it? Well, was it fun? Yes. Am I disappointed? Yes. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's get the obvious thing out of the way right in the beginning. The visuals are of course amazing. The game looks great on the lowest settings, and on ultra settings it looks breathtaking. And even though the graphics are amazing, it runs quite well. DICE's optimization process is brilliant since Star Wars Battlefront. Though strangely, I only had 30 FPS most of the time. Low or high settings made no difference, there was mostly 30 FPS. Except for when I scaled up the textures to 100%, that dropped the frame rate down to 11, though 42 is the default parameter for the textures and they are already amazing. Another thing I noticed about the visuals, is it just me or does it look like Star Wars Battlefront? It looks remarkably similar, don't you think? All the explosions and the little details. My first impression of the gameplay was, man, this is fast for a World War I game. All the previous World War I games I have played had the goal of being realistic. Battlefield 1 definitely has a different goal. It aims towards casual shooter fun. The classes are essentially identical to any other modern shooter with automatic and semi-automatic weapons and one bolt-action rifle-wielding sniper class. The standard infantry weapon of the time, the bolt-action rifle with iron sights, is pretty much absent from the game, though it does exist. The sniper class can unlock the standard weapon of the time, which I find kind of stupid. So I went ahead and unlocked the standard German infantry rifle to see how it goes when the game is played with some historical accuracy. And it's basically a useless weapon. Due to the missing scope, you are forced to fight on short to medium range and fire accurate shots at enemies charging at you with automatic weapons. Adding to the total shitfest that is the unscoped bolt-action rifle is the fact that you need several shots to kill an enemy. This makes unscoped rifles, at least this one, basically useless. Having a bolt-action rifle that doesn't produce one-shots is fine on long range, but in close combat you are totally fucked. DICE ignored the classic role of bolt-action rifles as a one-shot weapon, at least that's how it was in the beta. Let's have a look at an old classic. Here we have a bolt-action rifle. Boom! One shot. Now we have a semi-automatic weapon, which needs 2 shots to kill. Why is this fair? Cause you shoot way faster than the player with a bolt-action rifle. So my biggest complaint about Battlefield 1, historically accurate weapons suck. And this also counts for automatic weapons, cause why would anyone play with a historically accurate MP18 when you can play the MP18 with an aperture sight? Well, these existed, they were just very, very rare. But why am I even complaining? This is Battlefield, not a game focused on realism. It's for the fun of it, so let's go to the things that were fun. I think I don't have to talk about the infantry combat, because apart from enhanced melee combat with bayonets, clubs and swords, it's very, very close to any other modern Battlefield. And we all know that the Battlefield infantry combat is solid and pretty well done in all Battlefields, so let's move on to the things that are worth mentioning. From the beta, these are the tanks and the train. Tank combat varies quite heavily from Battlefield 4, in which the tank combat is basically a one-man job with an occasional machine gunner on top. But in Battlefield 1, operating a tank is a job for a team, unless you are playing a light tank. And next to armored trains, which are basically tanks on tracks, tank combat was the most fun thing in the Battlefield 1 beta. Let's have a look at the British Mark I for example. The driver is only armed with a machine gun. The main guns are operated by 2 different crew members located to the left and the right of the driver. As you can guess, this is great fun when playing with friends, and can be a bit annoying when nobody cooperates. What is a bit confusing, every side, regardless of fraction, could spawn every vehicle, but maybe that's a beta issue. From an historical aspect, it does make sense that the Germans can spawn British tanks, since they actually captured and used quite a lot of them. But British troops fielding a German A7V Sturmpanzerwagen, of which actually only around 20 were ever built? Well, let's book that under artistic freedom, shall we? The Battlefield 1 beta came with 1 map and 2 game modes, so I can't say anything about the single player or make a very informed judgment about the multiplayer as a whole. Though, what we got in the beta was solid, but a bit boring after a while because it was a bit repetitive and felt like Battlefield 4 with an older theme. But does the game have potential? Yes, it does. Is it fun? Yes, it is. It is fun if you give no shits about historical accuracy and would enjoy Battlefield 4 gameplay with an older setting. But like any other Battlefield nowadays, I can't see myself paying full price. The new old scenario is no reason for me to spend X amount of money on it. I'm kinda pointing towards my fuck DLCs video at this point. Will I buy the game? Yeah, probably, but only if I get a discount. I don't see myself paying $50 or $210 for the collector's edition, and then later pay even more for some DLCs just to get some maps and some more vehicles, of which there will be definitely more vehicles in the future, because there were so many prototypes back then. And in the end, is it really necessary to have points flashing up for everything? I know this is rather a general issue and not specifically tied to Battlefield 1, I just noticed it in this context again. Especially when you're around an earlier level, you have something flashing up every other second. And when you are in the end screen after the battle, you can see the estimate time you need to play until you reach the next level. Seriously, how bad must the game be if this has to be in it for motivation? No, seriously, I've heard people say a shooter without leveling is boring. What? Really? That means the game itself sucks balls. Not saying that is the case with Battlefield 1, cause I certainly had some good fun, but all the meaningless ranks kind of annoyed me and reminded me of duty calls.
Rank up! Sergeant, Sergeant, Master Sergeant, Shooter Person!
So in conclusion, Battlefield 1 is kind of fun, at least a little bit we've seen. Even though the realistic infantry weapons suck and all this emphasis on leveling is unnecessary, I would give it a try if you don't have to pay full price. Maybe have a look at some online key shops or something. So, what do you think about Battlefield 1? Do you have anything to add? Did I miss anything important? Write it down in the comment section. And while you're thinking about what to write, here's an opinion on Battlefield 1 contributed by a friend of mine. I accidentally captured it while we were recording some gameplay. It's German, so you'll have to read some subtitles.
Ich meine, die Neuerungen sind zwar schön, ne, und dass du überall Gewehre hast und so, aber wie wär's mal mit Neuerungen, wie dass du das Gewehr, diese Maschinengewehre, diese Sachen und so rumrollen könntest und so, weißt du? So, die denken immer nur auf eine Seite, voll langweilig, immer das Gleiche. So, weißt du, das stört mich so an den ganzen neuen Spielen. Da kommt keine wirkliche Entwicklung zustande, sondern immer nur das Gleiche. In anderem Gewand sozusagen.
We want to hear your opinion as well, so see you in the comment section. And as always, goodbye and guten Tag.